Hello, dearies. Granny Sugar Pants here, and it's so nice of you to come and visit. I do get so lonely. I remember the days when gentlemen callers would ring me up on the phonograph and ask me out to a talkie at the local auditorium. Of course, at some point in the evening, I would give his crank a little yank. And after a few vigorous minutes of sweating over that iron-hard shaft, his Model T's engine would start right up and we could continue with our drive. And we'd usually end up at Overlook Hill, where he'd plow my box like there was no tomorrow. And since so many of the boys were being called up to go to war against the Ottomans, it was likely there was no tomorrow for them. But still, it meant that I could get my snooch pounded without 17 months of holding hands and tiny little love notes full of flowery poetry. You modern ladies have no idea how lucky you are to be able to go out to the club and find yourself a nice big hog to take home that same evening. Or beaver, if you prefer. I know I sometimes did. So pull up a chair and let me tell you a little story. 1988's Rabid Grannies. A malodorous memoir maligned by a misleading moniker. Rabid Grannies has neither grannies nor rabies, which is a fantastic way to get things started. Lying to the video rental customers before they've even paid for the tape. But what does this movie actually contain? Well, it just so happens that your dear sweet granny has just taken a fresh batch of sleaze docket out of the oven for you sweet little children. We have 11 dead bodies, 12 cups blood, 4 cups vomit, 1 naked breast, spewed vomit facial, attempted vehicular homicide, attempted child forking, bloody fingernail growth, finger claw sliced cake, stretchy arm grab, lesbian shaming, painting jump scare, little boy fake out, 1 gun-loaded trunk, Jaws fin claw joke, the same year that Freddy Krueger did it. Verbally abusive parent cliche. Car won't start when there's trouble cliche. Gratuitous green sleeves. Gratuitous birthday song. Gratuitous cake knife request chant. Self-imposed Glasgow smile. Knife threatened crotch. Window chucking. 1 head bitten off. 2 armectomies. Double legectomy. Double handectomy. Double hand regeneration. 2 child legectomies, back seat neck snap, gate-assisted car smushin', 3 fingers bitten off, crucifix to the eye, 1 boiled face, 1 disemboweling, convulsing bubbling head, multiple gunshot blasts to the stomach, self-inflicted rifle shots to the head, shotgun butt to the face, pole axe crotch impalement lift and toss, face through glass death, 1 human folded in half, suicide encouragement, suicide discouragement, and crucifix to the box. Rabid Grannies is a tale as old as time. 2 old biddies have a lot of money, and there are a lot of leeching moochers who are going to kiss their asses in the hopes of getting some of that sweet, sweet lucre when they finally kick the bucket. They come from all over to travel to the middle of fuck all once a year to celebrate their dear rich auntie's birthday while the working class slaves away in the kitchen.
I'm doing me best, Mum.
Then sit down and do your best helping me pluck these pheasants.
But ma'am, I'm not the pheasant plucker. I'm the pheasant plucker's lass, and I'm simply plucking pheasants while I sit upon my ass. Once everyone gathers at the auntie's sprawling mansion, we get the typical spoiled bastard bullshit. Backbiting, infighting, gossip mongering, partner swapping. You know, the stuff miserable pricks do to make damn sure we all realize what miserable pricks they are. During the dinner, we find out that one of the family members isn't present. The black sheep of the family, who was recently written out of the will, isn't joining in the festivities. Why is he the black sheep? Because apparently he's all into satanic stuff and witchcraft, and worst of all, has a criminal record. But even though he's not able to be there in person, he does send a gift, which is delivered by an old crone who shows up at the gate. Folks, just know that if someone who looks like this offers you a gift, it's best to assume that there are some strings attached.
What is it? Time bomb?
The aunties open their gift, and it's a lovely antique box. Both of them think it's a lovely gesture, but the rest of the family piles on to remind the aunties that their relative doesn't deserve forgiveness.
Christopher may be our relative, but he deserves only one thing: condemnation!
And they all insist he remains off of the will. I mean, that pie's already getting cut up into like 7 slices. Is an 8th portion really going to make that much of a difference? The party continues through to the dessert course, and soon enough the aunties start feeling a little off. Oh, nothing too major, just little things, like growing gigantic fucking claws. Oh, and there's also the little thing of the impossible arm stretch, the split open torn mouth, and dragging a niece across the table to eat her head. Usually you have to wait for Thanksgiving for that kind of dining room family drama. Everyone panics and runs in different directions through the house, while the maid gets chucked out the window to her death. And the rest of the movie is our frightened family members hiding in locked rooms, desperately looking for a way out, while our monstrous matriarchs hunt them down and kill them. And we get some pretty gruesome moments, too. Limbs are sliced off like they were attached with tissue paper. One guy finds his way to the basement and attempts to escape through a hatch. Unfortunately, he's kind of a fat guy and gets stuck. And that's where the aunties find him.
The point is, you are alive when they start to eat you.
But the aunties aren't just mindless zombies. They prove to be quite creative in dispatching their prey. Like stealing a car and fence-smushing the idiot who decided to run away in a straight line down the road instead of running left or right. Hell, even the children aren't safe in this one. The little girl is lured into the auntie's bedroom with toys and sweet little words. When her mom goes looking for her, she's greeted by a bloody, severed leg violently chucked down the stairs. She races to the top and finds her daughter dead and in pieces on the floor. But at least the dog survived. Heck, he even gets to take part in the meal. Right after they escape the bloody scene, little Gilbert runs to his mommy for comfort. She picks him up, only to see Gilbert standing in the doorway on the other side of the room. Turns out the child she picked up is one of the aunties pretending. While safe behind a barricaded door, the aunties torment Gilbert by telling them they can listen to his father being killed. The tortured screams finally sway the adults to at least take a look, only to find out it was all a trick. And it was almost the end of them, but they were quick to shut the door before the aunties could get inside. We do get a nice callback to this event at the end of the movie when an actual survivor comes banging on the door begging to be let in. Only this time, they're not so quick to open that door. Later on, Harvey manages to get out to his car because his trunk is full of guns. Well, he is an arms dealer, you know. He's able to slow one down with 10 shotgun blasts to the stomach. But unfortunately, the next auntie comes out wearing a fucking suit of armor. The idiot wastes his ammo plugging away at everything except the open visor. Too bad Resident Evil 4 didn't exist back in 1988 to teach this guy how to go for the weak point. The metal monster survives the shotgun showdown and gives him a really rotten death by way of poleaxe dismemberment. Poleaxe impalement, and poleaxe chucking down the stairs. But I'd have to say one of the most evil acts the Devil Ladies unleash is when they corner Father Percival and have a debate over whether or not he should kill himself. The one says he should put the assault rifle in his mouth in order to save himself from the very painful death they are about to give him. But the other reminds him that suicide is a sin and he'll burn in hell for all eternity for it. So he should just take his painful death. Like, what kind of psychotic fucks wrote this shit? Because this is fucking awesome horror. The first says he was always Auntie's favorite, and that's why she's giving him the chance at an easy way out. But the other says not to suffer for eternity to save himself from a few moments of unbearable pain. Anyway, the gutless wimp takes the quick death option and fires several rounds into his soft palate, painting the wall with his gray matter.
I won!
Eventually, our last remaining survivors come up with the idea to destroy the box that was the start of it all. They take it to the chapel and use a crucifix like a hammer to smash it to pieces while the aunties try to break their way inside. Once destroyed, the demons' heads begin to bubble and pulsate while they puke blood, eventually leaving behind the auntie alive and relatively unharmed. We cut to the next morning where the property is swarming with police and paramedics carrying all the bodies out. There are few survivors, and not all of them are walking away from the events. Oh, but don't worry, her son will be taken care of as Rachel says he can stay with her. Guess not everyone at this party was an awful human being after all. Or maybe the trauma taught us a lesson. Skip ahead a bit, and Bertha is riding in a taxi that's clearly a very real taxi and not just a car owned by the crew with a hastily painted logo or anything. The driver tries talking to her when she suddenly starts puking green. The driver turns around to take a look. Helen lunges forward and his arm is torn off and left on the road, still holding on to the gear shift. And we roll the credits. Well, wasn't that a delightful little diatribe? Now, it should be noted that this movie famously has a horribly edited version. The original is about an hour and 35 minutes long, whereas the edited version is missing about 26 minutes. Originally, I couldn't find a copy of the full movie, so I settled for the shortened one for the show because it's a movie I've wanted to see for years. And wouldn't you know it, as soon as I got the entire episode written, recorded, edited, and uploaded, I found a damn good copy of the full movie. Well, let me tell you something, folks. It's just a gigantic reminder as to why it's always best to watch the definitive director's original cut. The worst thing the edited version does is cut out a lot of the character introductions. The first time through, I wondered who most of the people at the dinner table even were in relation to the aunties or even to each other. But in the full version, we get a lot more satisfactory information. Heck, we even get to see that the aunties themselves are fairly decent ladies, giving money and gifts to the poor in their village, as well as letting the hired help enjoy some leisure time while they're all out shopping for the party. Not only that, but we also get some cute moments of foreshadowing that the edited version has completely left off. Like Fred saying how he'd be disemboweled if his aunts found out that his brand new wife was a nightclub act. or how the little girl says she won't share her cookies with her brother until she's dead. Or Harvey attempting to barricade the door with a poleaxe, only for that to be the very implement of his death later on. I suppose one could argue that cutting down on the introduction section of the movie just gets to the action a lot faster. However, the gore got edited to hell and back also. In fact, the edited version goes out of its way to make it so you can't see what's actually happening. Either the shot is blocked by colored filters that make it damn impossible to see through, or they pan and scan so the gore is just happening off camera. Also, the unedited version gives more explanation as to how the box worked. During the dinner, the box begins to emit some smoke that ends up in the auntie's wine glasses. Later on, when Bertha is smashing the box to pieces, we see her begin to choke on the smoke, which explains why she becomes possessed at the end of the movie. In the edited version, the smoky wine glasses are completely gone. Now, apparently the story is that once Troma got the distribution rights, they were the ones who edited it to pieces. And knowing Troma like I do, it's simply baffling that they would do anything of the sort. In my opinion, Rabid Grannies should be right up there with The Toxic Avenger and Class of Nukem High. Why this one ended up all over the cutting room floor, I simply don't know. So, for your viewing pleasure, please enjoy a brief montage showcasing a side-by-side scene comparison between the full version and the edited version. I mean, at some point you have to ask why they bothered releasing the movie at all. Rabid Grannies is immensely entertaining. It doesn't pull any punches with the gore, but it's also got that brand of dark gallows humor that I appreciate from a horror comedy. I highly recommend this movie. But more specifically, I recommend waiting until you can see the full uncut original version. However, if you're like me and you absolutely could not wait to find one, the edited version will do. But I have to say, it's like the difference between a souffle and scrambled eggs. They're both basically the same dish, but one takes a lot longer to make. And it's that extra time spent on it that makes the souffle so much better. Or maybe I'm just making food metaphors because I'm hungry again. So now that you've had your stories, kiddies, it's time for you to be going on home now. And don't wait so damn long to visit your poor old Granny Sugar Pants next time. See you in your dreams, dearies.